Yeah. You listen to this intro, it's really good.
Nobody talks shidduchim. This is the Nobody Talks Shidduchim podcast.
Can you hear Maishi when the song's playing?
Welcome, episode 66, a Father's Fireside Chat. We're here, another episode. Thank you, folks, for coming. We listened to the feedback, and we brought on a real live parent. Avery, introduce the parent. No, Avery's not the parent, people. No. Avery, introduce the parent.
I'm not the parent, but I may be the father out there somewhere. Who knows? Not every guy gets the privilege to have the Steve Martin of the father of the bride-esque father-in-law.
Agreed.
But our guest, Avi Dreyfuss, may be the closest thing to it. Anyhow, as a father who has successfully vetted and dealt with numerous guys attempting to steal their daughter from him, Avi's going to provide us with some keen insights on how guys need to present themselves so that one day they can actually get married and start their Jewish anxiety-driven life.
The Jewish anxiety. Avi, welcome. Say hi to the audience.
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much.
It's okay. They still hear you.
They still hear me great.
They still hear you.
They do.
Thank you so much. Great introduction. Now I know why I chose your podcast over Joe Rogan. This is great.
We're well prepared.
Yeah.
And every time we have a new guest, I have a chance to introduce the buttons, so it's so fun. Welcome on the show. Wow. First of all, I want to give you kudos for a parent to come on. It takes a lot of balls. Also, an active parent, right? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, sure.
Without giving too much away.
Listen, it does take a lot of guts, but I have my wife and daughter sitting home on pins and needles, waiting for the edited version.
Yeah.
No,
Final cut.
About myself, I live in the 5 towns. I have 4 children, thank God.
No horror.
Yeah, Kananahara. One dated for a number of years, and then she got married last year. You might know the husband. He's the general counsel of this.
Oh, you want to give it away? Okay. People, yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise known as JP.
JP.
And
welcome, JP.
then I went through that. I went through that parsha with my daughter, and then my son started dating as well. So I've seen both sides of it, both ends.
Both ends, yeah.
So let's go back to the beginning of it.
Go ahead,
beginning of the parsha, right? Dating. Right. So your daughter comes back from seminary or wherever. And did she feel like, did you pressure her, say, now it's time, you're getting older, seminary is done, and it's time to get sorted and all that?
My wife got married. When we got married, my wife was 24. So we weren't into the pressuring young because we felt there was time. Mm-hmm. Also, I'm very, very big into make sure your career is set straight. Your career is set up, whether man or woman, boy or girl. Mm-hmm. So I wanted her to choose a path, get it settled, and even if you're not finished school or if you're not starting a job, at least you could go on a date and say, "This is what I'm doing. This is what I chose, and I'm on the path." So we the first year, no dating. First year back, I think it's good to settle down. Even if you're not a flip out, so to speak, and you come back and you just want to get settled in the American, back in the way with your family and going to college and your schedule. And like I said, choosing the right career. And then after that, we started about a year, maybe a year and a half after she came back. And at the beginning, it's new, it's interesting, and it's not something you're dreading, but then after a while, one guy, the next guy, after a while, it gets sort of like, oh boy, how's that going to work? How's this going to happen?
Right. Would you say that you were like naive? Like, yeah, no, girls, I'm sure it's an over-exaggerated problem that people have with girls.
Yeah, I was definitely
embellished.
I would agree. I was naive. And I'm not an arrogant guy, but I just felt like, hey, I don't know, the shidduch crisis, it's out there, but don't worry, I'll get dates and we'll be fine. And it's true for everyone. It doesn't make a difference, rich or poor, what you do. I really see it out there. I talk to a lot of people, and it doesn't really make a difference. It's harder for the girls to get dates. And I was and I know you're going to ask this question, so I'll just jump in. What I did was, you really have to be out there. That's what I believe as a parent. You have to constantly tell people that your daughter's dating. Don't expect everyone to start, because the calls as a girl, the calls don't come in 3 times a day.
Don't expect.
Don't,
right.
like,
Rule
with the
number
boys,
one.
with the
Rule
boys,
number
it
one.
comes in. You could get a resume a day. With
You
the
can
girls,
get some things, yeah.
With the
Right.
girls, it doesn't happen unless you're out there. And
Right.
it just
Yeah.
doesn't. It doesn't make a difference
Yeah.
who you are. You want to be, you're modern, yeshivish, in between, rich, poor. It really doesn't make a difference. You have to be out there and you have to advocate for your child, or it doesn't work. And I made some mistakes. I was at a yeshiva. I don't know, yeshiva auction, one of those entertainment nights.
Yeah.
Were
I
they
was-
auctioning
Without-
Avery?
Entertainment nights without any entertainment, and
Yeah, Avery
some
wasn't
of it-
there, unfortunately. And I was sitting at a table with a bunch of young yeshiva guys, and they were clearly too from for my daughter. But I was, again, advocating for her. And the answer is, you don't advocate. You advocate with other people, other parents, other people in the neighborhood or outside the neighborhood. But what you don't do is, I went to this yeshiva, let's say dinner or whatever you call it, and sitting at a table with a bunch of young guys and basically saying, my daughter's great, why don't you date? And we were joking around, and these guys had good personality, but they were all learning, and they weren't for her because they weren't even close to having a career plan. And we're going back and forth. And at the end of the night, one of the guys gave my friend his number and said, I do want to date his daughter. And then got the
Nice,
resume.
Daddy.
The problem is, got the resume, and it was just, it wasn't for her. It was a nice guy. It wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't bad. It just wasn't for her. So then I felt bad. I got these guys. Like you can't play with people's emotions. So the right way is to go to the parents and go to or some adult that could set it up for you. To start just giving out your daughter's resume or business card at a yeshiva event was not the right way to do it. I was
You
young.
quickly realized
I was
you had
young.
that epiphany.
Yeah,
right
I was
after it
young and I
happened?
was being funny at the table, and everyone was laughing. It was a very funny night, and we had a great time. But if it ends in someone being disappointed or insulted, it's just, it's not the right answer.
These resumes they're not Waterbury, like E6 in a Waterbury dormitory. Like, they don't get passed around that often. Like you just, you want to selectively give it to people.
Yeah, no, you can't do that. I had other situations where when you talk about advocating for your child, which I think is the way is the right thing to do, and it's hard for people because some people are just shy. It's just, but I'm
Or
not,
socially
I'm not
awkward.
shy.
Or maladaptive.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
A lot of
Avery,
malady-
Avery, this is not about you.
This is not.
Show.
You guys know each other?
Yeah. So one time I was in Shul, and during COVID I dive into different places, and I got to know someone really well, and then I see he had a brother or a son, and then I went over to him and I said, how about we make a shidduch? That's okay, because I didn't go to the person themselves. I went to the person's brother, father, uncle.
Someone
and
in between.
That is advocating, that I think is the right thing, because but to go to the boy themselves, that was probably the one time I did
I like
make a
that.
mistake.
I mean, it's all about shluchus in a way, right? Make a third party in that sense, so there isn't that social, that awkwardness between your child, in this case, your child going out, and you just don't want to even put that like stress on them, right?
Yeah. And I didn't want to put the stress
That's
on the other
isn't
person
that what
either.
Abraham did?
Yeah.
Abraham did this with Eleazar.
Wow.
Right?
Look at your biblical knowledge.
What's up? What's up? He's on my resume.
What yeshiva did you go to?
Yeshiva. Don't interrupt me.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm kidding. We saw a movie last night.
I guess you'll edit this one out.
No, we can.
No, yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
wish.
we'll edit it out later, and then we don't edit it out. No, I'm kidding. I'm
Yep.
kidding.
Yep.
What was that movie from? It was.
Tinder Swindler, was that great dating?
Oh, that was it.
great.
Oh, that
great
was a
dating
really-
advice from that guy, by the way.
Oh wow,
If you wanna,
yeah.
I
Oh
didn't-
wow.
If you want to get a shit if they watch
Oh,
I
that.
watch it
yeah.
yet.
Yeah, I'm sure your daughter has gone out with a few Tinders.
I'm sure a lot of shots
Besides
on
you,
him.
besides
Besides
Avery.
me, yeah.
A Flatbush.
She wouldn't give me 100K. I asked her for 100, just nothing. She wouldn't give it to me.
Yeah, and it was good reasons. It was because IJ went down. IJ went down.
Well,
Blood.
Avery actually said he needed money to fund the podcast.
I needed money. Yeah, I needed money to
Well,
fund
that's
the
a good
podcast.
reason to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So I love that point. I like the involvement. Yeah,
More of the involvement in cooperation. It seems like, right? You had a
Cooperation,
partnership in some
Yeah,
way.
Yeah. I mean,
to
I
decide.
think it's hard. Honestly, I think it's hard for parents for many reasons. One, like you said, some of them are just shy and quiet, and some of them, they feel awkward, and some people are not so connected. So they're not talking to anyone in Shul on a regular Shabbos, let alone to go over and say, hey, I usually don't talk to you, but now can you find someone for my daughter? It's really hard to be out there, but honestly, that's the way I was able to get dates. I was out there saying, listen, I have a daughter. Do you know someone? And it's not. I wasn't embarrassed. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with her. She's a great girl. But let's find
Right.
someone let's find someone for her.
Yeah.
There's no reason.
What was the criteria for guys like that you needed to hit? If she was interested and you gave the yes, like how'd you guys come up with a criteria together to say this is a good fit?
Yeah,
Or
was it
potentially?
together? First of all, was it together? Was it with your wife? What was that process?
I mean, this is a little different. A lot of people do it different ways because some children, it's not so much, it's a little bit about their independence, number one, but it's also about their relationship with their parents. I think it's both. And my daughter is an independent girl, but she also has a good relationship with us and allowed us in the process. And I think that's very important. And I'll get to a story later where there are some people that don't get their parents in the process, or at least an adult that they respect and take advice from, and I think it could hurt. But so getting back to your question about what's the process, you have the resume of the boy. The good news is, at least, with the boy, you don't get the resume. With the girls, you don't get the resume until the boy says yes. So you have a yes, you're ready to go. And
it's your call. It's your call.
In that sense, it's better. With the boy, you could say yes, and then
and then there's that level of uncertainty you have.
So that is one aspect that's good. So we get the resume and we go through it. Now, this is where a lot of people are different. Is we're very big on having a career plan. In today's day and age, and nothing personal against you two, but
we're podcasters. That's a career.
Exactly.
I specialize in debt.
Exactly.
I specialize.
If only your listeners could see this apartment and this makeshift studio. So
it's not even ours. We just broke into someone's house.
Basically, I'm actually worried that the cops might come.
How many dates I've dressed this place up as pretending to be a Starbucks? Come in here, $2.
Yeah.
Kidding me?
So when we're looking at it, other people say, listen, if he's a good guy, and the boys today don't have a plan, or let's take a step back. It's not that the boys don't have a plan. I don't want to say that, but a lot of the boys take longer today to come up with the plan. And instead of coming up with the plan at 21, 22, they're taking a little longer.
They have more
time.
Let
me learn. Let me think about what I do. Let me try this, try that. And I'm not saying it's bad, but for my daughter, she wanted to know what's the plan. And that's because that's the way we were brought up, and that's why I brought up the kids. So a lot of it was personality, from kite level, and career plan. For us, I think those were the three main factors.
And how were you able to ascertain off of a resume if this guy had it?
Yeah, it's very hard. Some people do a lot of crazy checking. We do minimal checking. We look at the resume,
I like that.
Make a couple of phone calls. And then this is probably not a good plan, but I think what I did was, after it gets serious 3-4 dates, I'd make a couple more phone calls. It's not really a good plan, and the reason is, at that point, they're involved, they're interested.
Too late.
It's too late. Those next two phone calls are meaningless.
But it preps you a little bit.
Yeah, it helps me a little.
Mellow things down.
Yeah, it helps me a little, and I think the main thing is it's. So you say yes, maybe you made a mistake because you didn't do enough checking, or maybe you made a mistake because you didn't catch some things on the resume that you should have been asking more. But at the end of the day, it's worth a try. Not everyone believes this. The girls don't want to get themselves dressed up and ready for a date for no reason. But sometimes the parents are like, hey, it's worth a try. You go out. But I think the big thing is the connection. I think the partnership, connection, the trust, the dialogue between the child and the parent to come back from the date. And red flags are there so you could stop. The red flags are supposed to flag you to say, whoa, something's wrong. Something's not right. The problem a lot is that either they're too young and inexperienced, they don't know that they're flags, or number two, they see the flags, they think it might be a problem, but they don't realize it because they like other things about it, so they put it behind. They
love going to that steakhouse.
They throw it under the rug. The steakhouse, the personality.
They love coming to Avery's fake Starbucks house.
Yeah, exactly. They love it so much that they don't realize that he wasn't treating them nicely or treating them appropriately.
How do you train
making them pay?
How do you train a child to be perceptive to that?
It's hard to train. I think it starts when they're young. It's not something that you could just train when they start dating. Yeah. But I think the biggest thing is the open communication. When my daughter would come back from a date, even if we weren't awake, we would talk the next morning. We would always have a good conversation. And I think we would get a pretty good feel of what's going on. Nice. I've gotten screamed at many times by shadchanim, and not from here, more the yeshiva shadchanim. They expect an answer. The boy needs an answer in the morning because the boy's so special that they need an answer.
People do that?
Yeah. In the more yeshiva circles.
I never heard of this.
One shadchan said to me, if I don't hear from you by 9 a.m., then it means it's a no. I said, well, then take the no because my daughter wasn't sure last night and we were going to have a good discussion in the morning, but we didn't get that discussion yet because I had a work meeting, and we'll get back to you by 12. And if the answer is no because I can't get back to you by 9, then say no. And then the shadchan back down. Then the shadchan back down because the boy wanted to go out.
I love that. I love, by the way, see as a...
I don't get bullied.
As a former shidduch dater or current shidduch dater or a shidduch dating anonymous, whatever I'm in now, right? Whatever I identify as, I appreciate that boundary.
Yeah.
That's a very fair boundary to set. Parents who are listening, daters out there, set that boundary. Be like, hey, you're going to work with me, shadchanit.
Who's a shadchanit?
Who's a shadchanit?
They're all shadchanit.
But most I'm not talking bad about shadchanim because I think most shadchanim are good. I think this was someone that they were used to. They were in a certain circle where this is what was done. They weren't trying to be bad to me. They would just think, this is what's done. And they didn't know. I said, my daughter's gone out a lot. I've never done this before. No one's ever given me an ultimatum for 9 a.m. Or and I was very tough.
We've had that. Yeah, we've had that.
I don't go for that. It's one thing. You have to get back to someone. You have to be managed. But 9 a.m. versus 11 a.m.
Right. And dating, I've had situations where I had to go out with girls and you won't hear back for a day or two, which is just, it's not a mental thing.
No,
it's
that's not mental. But I
like,
was talking about 9 versus 11.
Yeah, of course.
And that's why I got annoyed. Yeah. But I'll give you, when you talk about having the relationship with your child, with a daughter or son, because I think both are the same when it comes to this, is that it's so important to, even if your child for some reason doesn't have the relationship with you or doesn't live with you, so you can't talk to them after every day and go through it, there has to be someone that they talk to. Because I have an example, there was a girl that I know that she was being treated not right by the guy, and there were clearly red flags, but
don't talk about him in front of his face.
Who knows? It might have been.
They didn't realize it was me.
Yeah. So what happened was that she just didn't talk about it with her parents, and her parents were good people. It wasn't that they did anything wrong, but they didn't have that relationship where they would discuss it after each date, and it snowballed, and things got really bad. And thank God they didn't get engaged and it ended. But after it ended, I actually met the father on the street. And he said to me, Avi, I just didn't know. And why didn't you tell me? I was like, listen, I didn't know either. But he was just saying, I didn't know. We would have told her to end it. And he's a good person, good father. It's not that he's bad. He didn't have that relationship where they talked after each date. And I actually say that's one of the most important things. We have endless conversations with my daughter over the years and now my son started dating and we did the same thing. We talk about it because there's certain things he sees that say, you know what, that's not bad. Give it another chance. And there's certain things you say, you know what, that's a problem. They don't respect you. They don't treat you. There are things that are important and there are things that are not. And you need someone. And again, it doesn't have to be the parent. It could be a respected Rav. It could be an adult. Yes, but it should be someone who's married.
An older sibling.
It should be someone, I think, who's married and has gone through it.
Okay, a married older sibling then. Yeah. A mentor.
It has to mentor, anything. But if you don't have that conversation, I think you could get in real trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's got to be somebody that you feel like, in my experience, it's someone that you go to after a date. It's someone that you respect, someone that you think has your best interest at heart, someone who has a relationship that looks like the one that you may want to have one day. Exactly. So that's one thing that's important because kids who are dating at 20 and 22, 21, 22, I don't think they really think about what a marriage is. All they see is their family structured marriage. Yeah. And they see some people come from crazy homes, crazy broken homes, bad situations. And all they could think about was, well, this is normal, and they don't know anything else. Right. So they normalize everything. Yeah. And once you get an outside perspective,
this is normal. This is normal.
Right.
No,
it's normal to beat the wife. What's it? That happens.
I just found out, guys, that my kids think I have a normal marriage. I always thought that they. I was really excited.
Renew the vows.
I'm gonna.
We'll officiate.
I'm gonna. I always thought they thought there was craziness going on. Yeah. And then my daughter said the other day, and she'll be upset when she hears this, but she said to my wife, JP and I really want to have a marriage like you and mommy, and I was shocked. I was shocked. So yeah. So good luck, JP.
Yeah, well, actually, just make sure he has time to do all our legal proceedings and everything.
Yes, of course.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, let me ask you though. By the way, guys' looks. Tell us, guys' looks. Does that make it? Does that make
For
it
the
a break
parents
it?
or for the girl?
For both. Let me ask. Yeah, first for the child. First for the girl. First
For the girl, attraction's important to everyone, just like it is for boys. Girls also attraction's important. For the parents, I just want them to come in and not be a schlump, not dressed like I'm dressed now.
We're chilling.
I look good, yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, we got some tea, some coffee, cigars.
So you just want them to be presentable. They're coming to pick up your daughter. Don't look like a schlump. But for me personally, as the father, I could care less.
That's good.
If my daughter's, I want the person. You want the right person with the right midos, with the right, like I said, right midos, right career, and right level of frumkeit for your daughter. And to me, then I'm happy. Attraction's up to her. But yeah, you just want the guy to be presentable. Obviously, JP looked great, so there was no issue.
Did.
But
We dressed him. We
Yeah,
dressed him.
yeah,
Take all
yeah.
the credit.
Yeah. So, but for the girl, like the girl, of course, cares about that. Attraction's important. Like there were many times that I closed the door after when they picked up for the first date. Closed the door, looked at my wife, and I'm like, "Wow, that was great." And then she looks at me. She goes, "Do you see the way he looked?" She's not going to go for that, and so I'm completely clueless. I'm not the right guy to ask.
Yeah, but if they're a Jets fan, you'll take them.
Oh
That was sort of like
Jets fan was probably
Sports
number
is a
one.
good way.
Right.
That's a good way to connect. Let me ask you. So now it's time for you to meet the guy. Okay, it's time for you to meet. And this, by the way, this can really go in both ways.
Yeah.
It can be you're meeting the girl, you're meeting the guy. So first of all, what date number?
You mean to sit down and have a real
Yeah.
meaningful conversation about this is something, or just the first date?
First meeting.
So
How do you how do you operate this?
I think people do it a lot of different ways. I first tried when we started. I wanted to be more cool, more casual. I thought I was the cool guy.
Don't they
yeah,
all?
but I wasn't the cool guy. I was trying to do it open the door, say hello, and get out. The problem is they'd start following me in because they think they're doing a sit down, and then when I'd stop in the hallway, they'd almost bump into me, and we'd have a whole disaster. And we've had a few of those bump ins because they started walking towards me, and
my God.
and then
It's like Trump in the UN when he walks by everybody.
yeah,
That's what was going on.
So I said, you know what? Trying to be cool didn't work because the boys don't know what you're doing. They're used to being brought into the living room. So let's just bring them in. But the way I see it is we're just going to do a casual conversation. The boy's nervous. Some parents are nervous. I wasn't, but some parents are nervous too. The boys are definitely, most of them are nervous. And you sit them down in the living room, have a 2-minute chit chat. And then there's no reason to have a serious conversation with the guy when your daughter and the guy, there's a good chance they're not going to go more than 2 dates. And so to me, it's a 2-minute chit chat just because he's taking out your daughter. You should at least say hello. What's going on? What do you do? And then the second date or third date, I try not to be around because I don't even want to have that. You open the door, say goodbye.
I like that there's some strategy here.
I think the first date see him for a couple minutes. After that, you could be by the door or not be by the door. I don't think it makes a difference. Right. But then if it goes past that, I did sit down after when it got any guy that got past 3 dates, it's time, sit down. Let's have a little longer conversation, 10, 15-minute conversation with JP. What happened was I was waiting for that serious conversation, and then it worked out perfect. They were coming back for one of the dates, and my wife and I were coming back from getting the district food. Not that I needed it. I was giving it out. No, I was giving it out to poor people.
Oh,
it wasn't for myself.
Wow. I didn't see you were there once. I was also giving it out.
Yeah, we were giving it out.
I was bringing it to Avery.
So what's funny is I was coming back with my wife holding old meat, fruits, vegetables, all this milks, chocolate milks. And
there's a setup here.
It was perfect.
Right.
Because they were coming back from a date. I'm coming like this. And he's like, who the hell am I marrying into? This guy's getting food from all over the place. And then we come out of the car. My wife's, maybe we should just stay in the car. I'm like, no, let's make this fun. So
let's make it fun, right?
So we come out of the car.
It's a few dates already at this point, right?
It's more than 3.
So
I
it's
forgot if it was
locked
4
in,
or 5. And you want to, this is the time. And you come out.
Throw a curveball.
With your milks. And you want to see, what is the guy going to say? Is he going to run? And they just started cracking up. Okay. And I'm like, you're not going to believe this, but we didn't go to the district. We just went to Gourmet Glob. But, and they didn't believe it.
It literally said District 9 pickup right there.
So everyone was laughing. It was a very funny scene.
Oh my gosh.
And I think it broke the ice a lot. And then that night I invited him in. I said, why don't you come in? We'll talk. And we ended up talking for a half hour, 40 minutes. And that
Awesome.
Get to know the guy when it's time. No point in getting to know the guy. It's my opinion. I know some people, they want to faher the guy and talk to the guy. To me, the first few dates, you're never going to see this guy again. Why do you need to know about his whole family and story and everything else?
Yes,
So that's
yes,
my opinion.
yes.
I think the guys want to feel more comfortable. So I think the guys would appreciate what I'm saying. But who knows?
We do. No, very shrewd of you. Quite gumptuous the way you handled it.
I don't know what gumptuous means, but
Very
I don't think
clever.
that's
very
fair.
clever. This guy over here.
That's
Avery,
We'll call him
Avery,
Avery.
this is from your dictionary.
yeah.
Gumptuous means
okay.
clever.
Thank you.
We'll go for it.
IG's word of the day.
Edit this out. I don't want to sound stupid.
No. You know what it is. Okay, well, this is okay.
Oh, yeah, it
No,
is.
that's fine. I don't care.
Well, then we'll just start back
I don't care.
from the beginning. No, very clever of you. And we do appreciate something more natural, more genuine. That is how you want it. Otherwise, it's good. If you try too hard, if you force it, it could taint the whole situation. You're running on, you're going at a really nice pace, and then it didn't go with the parents, or I got to meet the parents. So,
And do you want, the question is, I agree with that, but the question is, even on the first date, do you even want the 2-minute chit chat, or do you want to cut that out too? That's the question for you guys.
Yeah, no, my experience
What do you
is
want?
absolutely not. There's no
Avery,
you don't even want the
Avery's
chit-chat.
response
I'm
is,
dating-
I
I'm
don't want to
dating-
talk to you until the chuppah.
Right, yeah.
Actually, till after, till the will.
But I'll
till
tell you
will.
I used to say I'd rather the parents not be around.
Yeah, no,
Ever.
I hear
Like,
you. But
not
I'll tell you
alive.
the flip side. There was one guy,
Not even.
there was one or two guys, and then maybe in their circles it's done, so it's okay, but they were literally texting my daughter, come out. On the
No,
first
that I
date.
wouldn't do.
Yeah.
And that's not
Yeah.
right. It's the first date. They're in the car. I think that's too much for the first
No,
date.
I
At least
wouldn't do
knock on the door.
Yeah.
And then if you don't want the chit chat, I don't know what you do.
I would ask her to drive. I wouldn't tell her to come, text her to come out. Drive. pay.
Drive is good. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
no,
what
that makes
so
sense.
so there are. It happens to be. Look, I am old school, and I carry a big heart when I meet these fine young ladies, and I believe in chivalry, so I want to go to the door. I want to open up for them. But I will defend some of the guys on with this, where they could have gone on 3, 4, 5, 10 dates recently, all one and dones. They're getting very numb. They're dealing with terrible shadchanits, and they're dealing with terrible parents. Not as great as your big daddy, Avi.
Thank you.
So yeah, they just want to protect themselves in that sense.
Yeah.
I have to put up a wall. If she comes in on the first date, I text her to come in. Okay. I'm like, hey, I actually like this girl. Then certainly at some point after 3, 4 dates, hey, go to the door.
Right.
I mean, there's no question about that. But I would definitely accept things with a little more credence in regards to there are some valid reasons why you want to text
Yeah.
that.
So that's why
but I am
yeah.
someone who believes more in, hey, just go to the door, say hi, keep it cash.
And that's
everyone's
what I
uncomfortable.
did. So
Everyone's uncomfortable.
one guy, you guys are like this. I sat him down and we were having a good conversation. And this just shows you why the chit chat means nothing. You'll see in a second. Sat down, having a great conversation with this guy. So the 2-minute chit chat turned into 7, 8 minutes.
Oh wow.
My daughter's already getting antsy. She doesn't like that. She
Yeah.
doesn't want me talking to
Yeah,
this guy
by the way,
so
you
long.
you have to factor that
So
in.
I do factor it in. I
gotta
used to
factor
say
that
I don't want to talk to you anymore because my daughter will scream at me.
Yes.
But then she got upset. She's like, you can't tell the
She
guys
can't, right.
that she screams at her father.
It's a cute line, but right, it doesn't
was a
work
great
till
line. It worked for
2020.
the first 20 guys. After that, I stopped. Anyway, so this guy, I didn't say that. I talked to him, and it was going really well. We were having a fun conversation. He was laughing, and we get up to go, and we were still talking as we were getting up. I said, oh, my daughter's here. And we start walking to the door, and he turns around. He goes, hey, listen, I have enough room in the car if you want to come also. Which is an amazing line. Amazing. We were dying. Me, my wife, my daughter,
Yeah.
dying laughing. I said, wow, we found the one. This is a true story. We were dying. Closed the door. My wife and I turned to each other. The guy was a good guy.
You're like already planning
Everything
the
was great.
engagement.
Planning everything. We looked at each other and said, we found the guy. He has personality and good and this. He's me, everything good. We were dying laughing. My daughter comes home 3 hours later and she's like, no, it was terrible.
Oh, wow.
I said, what do you mean? I'm still laughing from what he said. She said, Daddy, it was the first and last time I laughed the entire date.
Oh, my
Meaning,
gosh.
it was just
Oh, my gosh.
chit chat means nothing. He was able to chit chat with the
Yes.
father. Great, and we
Exactly.
had and I was made him comfortable, and we had a fun time, and he had a great line. I don't take that away from him, but after that, it was all downhill. So what does that mean?
Yeah. And you learned
Yeah.
and you
So
learned
you
by the way,
can't
you
open
learned
too
it.
strong. You got to save your best for the end.
No, not even just that, but you
Well, that's
learned
what it
that
means.
lesson, by the way, which was good. You don't know what goes on in between them in the car, on the date, alone. It's so different. It's so different. Manus Friedman says that many times. As part of a marriage, hey, what happens behind closed doors? You don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
And here you were.
Manus Friedman also thinks that the Rebbe's alive, so I don't know if we should be taking Manus's.
Now you just lost all your Chabad.
I don't-
He is still alive, and he's coming for
He is,
you.
I know. He gets more dates than I do. But
Everyone comes to him. Yeah, go ahead.
question for you, Avi.
Yeah.
Gift giving. The guy comes, gives her gifts, right? She gets all heartwarmed and everything.
Yeah.
Now, where does the gift giving to parents, in-laws, fall in line? A lot of in-laws, people I know, I remember I gave a gift once to a girl, and the father of the girl was expecting something. It was like Hanukkah time, and he made he made a comment to me. He's like, "Oh, where's the gifts for the in-laws or whatever?"
He was joking.
It was
No
obviously
way.
a joke. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Anyone.
Psycho.
No way. Anyone is that serious that they want. I mean,
Swear.
I don't
Smart
mind if the guy
community.
brings. I
Yeah.
mean,
Swear.
JP brought me donuts to get me. But,
Oh, really? What
but
they-
I don't.
what they-
I don't.
You don't
expect
expect anything. You just
I
are
want
happy
it.
that they have.
I told them leave it in
Right.
the mailbox, so my wife doesn't know, and I just went out and got the donuts. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Texted him. You already had his number. Like,
Yeah.
Crazy.
winked and said,
Who
"Here, give me
expects
a card."
gifts? I never heard. Besides
I'm
the boy
telling
and
you,
girl,
people-
parents
Yeah.
expect gifts.
Yeah, some mothers expect gifts. Yeah, yes.
I did this all
So
wrong.
usually it's. I'll tell you. Let's say that. Yeah, he's. Oh, I did this all wrong. Oh, I should have listened to the
Shabbos
podcast.
phone calls. They expect Friday afternoon.
Really?
That
That's
guy's
already
gonna call.
closer to an engagement. But no, let's say
If
you're
it's
dating
close, if you're
someone.
dating for a while, they expect you
You
to
know,
be
10, 15 dates. Yeah, it's Hanukkah's coming up.
I never heard
You
of
buy a
this.
family gift.
Mm-hmm.
Family
Listen, if they're
gift,
coming for
you
a
know?
Shabbos meal, they should bring.
No, that's for
something.
sure. But this
what-
is even before that.
No
yeah.
way.
Some people do it. Some people. It's
Very
not
nice.
a conventional thing.
I think you
But it's
get each other
certainly-
gifts, but you don't have to get the parents.
Oh yeah, no, I'm more in line with that
Yeah.
for sure, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. But no, at a certain point, obviously, you know, come for Shabbos for sure.
Yeah.
Avery, why you want someone?
No,
to
I think
do
it's
a bit?
psychotic if they give parents gifts. I think it's just nuts.
Unnecessary.
Very unnecessary. But
I
I'm sure
take
it's happened.
food, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's a gift. Yeah.
Tell me a little
Cigars.
bit, Avi. Tell
You'd
me
be
a
a good
little.
politician to just buy. We know what we do. We'd buy you off
Yeah.
with
Yeah, we
whatever
could
food
buy
we
you
could.
off. Like
Yeah.
at some point, you just get so many.
Buy
gifts,
off
you're
your
like,
votes.
Off with.
Is that what they do
There you go.
in Ginsburg Shul? They buy you off with food to.
I thought we're not
to get
naming
the-
anyone sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
What's
whoops.
yeah.
Uh,
In Ohio, that's a great
in the
shul.
shul in
That's a great
Ohio,
shul.
yeah.
Great shul, that shul.
Are you on shidduch date burnout? Getting some anxiety or just need someone to talk to about all those DMs and WhatsApps? Ahuva Shandelman is a licensed psychotherapist and the founder of Holy Shid. She treats clients with care, empathy, and a ton of shid. Ahuva can be reached anywhere, as she treats clients virtually and is also based in Rockland County for office hours. She can be contacted if you're interested via email, ahuvashandelman@gmail.com, or DM her on Insta at holy_shid. IJ and Avery love her. You will too.
A great time to shout out your store, Michal.
Style and Trend, please shop it.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, today's episode has been sponsored by Style and Trend out in Lakewood, New Jersey.
Right.
They have some of the most
applause
top
for them.
women's fashion trends, styles.
We do.
Get your tops, get your bottoms, get
IJ
your
gets his
hats.
tops there.
What else?
That's
Shoes.
No,
They
No,
sell shoes
accessories,
too.
beanies. We got jewelry.
Okay, they sell
All the
they sell-
fashionable Instagram
all the
brands
fashionable.
that you see
Mention
on
nobody
the
talks to Dukham and get a discount.
Yes,
Exactly, 10% off.
mention, okay,
We should
10.
do that
We're
for
giving
real.
10. NTS10 for 10% off. That's NTS10.
Hashtag.
Tell Michal, Avery, IJ, and Tommy sent you.
Awesome.
Okay, Avi, I got a question for you.
Sure.
So, tell me how these reference calls go. Okay, because you mentioned if I call the reference, I used to love calling it a few in, but then you realize it could be too
Yeah.
late or it could be too invasive at that point. Tell me how these phone calls go.
Yeah, like it's funny because sometimes I built a great connection with the reference, and sometimes you don't. but it has zero bearing on how the date goes. So sometimes I call a friend and I'd have such a good time with the friend on the phone that I would end up saying, how come we're not going out with the friend? He's single guy.
That's an episode of the podcast. I should have married the reference.
Right. And sometimes you feel it, and then the date doesn't, and he's, wow, this is great. Yeah. You're cool. I think you can have a great time with your daughter's going to have a great time with this kid. And then the date goes terrible. So it means nothing if you have a great reference call, and if you have a bad reference call, it has no bearing on the date as far as connection. But as far as what you could find out, which is what you're asking, you ask some questions, it's really hard because no one's telling you exactly. But you know what? Sometimes if you get good at it, and I don't think I was so good at it or so great at it, but I think if you're good at it, you could read between the lines. And they say, oh, what's personality? Oh, he's quiet, or he's not the life of the party. But once you get to know him, there's just so many things people say, and it's just, it's really, honestly, it's hard. It's hard to know. I'll ask someone, are they middle of the road? That's a terrible thing to ask. You can't ask that because middle's different to everyone.
Yeah, no, the second you say middle of the road in some of the yeshivish felt, it's, they're off the dark.
No, that's not the problem. The problem is they get upset because they don't want to, no one wants to label anyone. So it's not because you're not from enough. It's because they're saying middle of the road to me and to you and to Avery are three different things. And so they're right about that. So after the first bunch of reference calls that I'd done, I stopped asking that because I always think I'm middle of the road, but so does everyone, I realized. Yeah. So when you start, everyone wants to be middle of the road. No one wants to think they're an extreme.
Defining hashkafa is so key.
So I got better at that.
2 episodes on it.
Yeah, you have to get better at that. You can't say middle of the road. You could say, what's the hashkafa? You could say, there's different things you could ask, but
Lakewood Veld, Brooklyn Veld, Yeshivish Veld, Modoc, and then you really got to get very descriptive.
So I definitely wasn't good at it at the beginning. I don't think I'm that good at it now. I think it depends on the person you call and the connection. Some people are warm and they start talking and then you have a great conversation. Some people are very cold and they say, just ask me questions and I'll answer it. I don't want to talk. So I've gotten so many different experiences. I'm not a big fan. That's life. That your daughter or son has to go out and see for themselves, unfortunately.
Well, by the way, look, I want to commend you and tell you that you're doing a good job there. Like the fact that you're willing to get the hits by the bullets, that's very big because I do see with girls and guy friends of mine who parents are involved at the right time, in the right time, usually younger, of course. They dodge a lot of bullets because there's an emotional hit here that really could wound someone if they're making the calls and they're doing the investigation and they're trying to handle everything. And sometimes it doesn't even give them like peace of mind. Just even peace of mind is good to just have them like, just, oh, wow, okay, this is a lot easier now that my parents are helping me, my father's helping me, or, oh, wow, this.
You brought up a good point because, like, for you guys, a little bit, not old, but a little bit older singles, and you're not living with your parents, it's probably much more difficult, and you're not close with your Rebbe anymore. Like, it's honestly, I'm being serious. It's not. It must be harder for you. And as we're talking, I feel like, what do you guys do?
Yeah, it's different. It's a different dynamic.
Avery can talk about it.
I'll speak on it. It's very different.
First of all, they call me when he needs...
Right, that's the problem. No, I'm afraid of Avery calling you is a big problem.
I'm just kidding.
Well, I tell them, listen to my podcast.
Listen to the podcast. No, I'm kidding. He doesn't. No, he doesn't. But Avery, tell us about that. That's a good... He wants to know.
I'm looking for people in our situation, and I don't want to speak for Isaac. I can only speak for myself. Like people in my situation, I'm really looking just number one and first and foremost to have a good relationship with the person I'm dating. And wherever I find them, that could be at events, that could be through other avenues and areas, and it could be through shidduchim. Like you can't put yourself in a closed mind.
Let's say you find that person at an event and you start going out with her, but you have questions. It's harder for when you're at in the high 20s. It's a different perspective, and you're not like, I'm not going to my parents.
I'd say if anything, it's easier for me because a lot of times, and especially in the last year or so, as I've been dating, I go out with these girls who are very frum, and I'd meet their parents and shidduch dating stuff, and I would call them very frum. They're firmer than me, right? And I'd meet their parents, and it'd be like after the date, we'd have a good conversation, and let's say I didn't feel it was for me, and I didn't feel like the girl was for me, and I didn't want to go out with her again, but I have these feelings. Why don't I just communicate it to her directly? Right, and not tell some third party who doesn't know us, doesn't know how to explain what I'm feeling. So many times on these dates, I would just tell them like, I think you're a nice person, but I don't really see it. It just makes communication so much easier because ultimately, at the end of the day, when you're married, you're not going to have a shotgun there to communicate when you guys want to go out, and
So I do think
if you're in
that-
the mood for this. Or
So I
that's
think for
not what
you guys,
happens.
that
for me,
the
that's
communication's better. I
much
agree
better.
with that. But then you don't have someone to guide you on the other side of
Right.
it. So it's a good point.
So
you're
we deal with
making.
each other
There's
more.
pros and cons.
Yeah, there's
Your
pros and cons.
communication's better.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be like a baby and have a middleman
Exactly.
and all that. But on the other hand, you have less guidance from others.
Right.
Somewhat,
or,
yeah.
or we don't have anyone to take those bullets, as I was mentioning.
Yeah, maybe I should do a podcast with
No.
you guys and ask you guys.
You're
these
you're
questions.
you're coming back. You're coming back. We're gonna do so
Yeah.
many of these.
Yeah, no.
I think on that note, jumping in there, certainly, there really just is two different sides to. Two different stories, as Bill de Blasio used to say, the worst mayor in New York. Two tales of New York, and they're just two different stories to shidduch dating. You have those who are close with their parents, involved, still following, the guidelines, let's say, not just the rules. And then at some point, whether you did it right, you got screwed, you made mistakes, whatever it is, if you don't get married, or if you really start getting older and still single, you do have to start adapting to that next stage, which is handling everything on your own and having that sort of life. So I would convey over to parents to kind of to realize that if you're dealing with an older guy, you're dealing with an older girl, they're going to have their own life. They're going to have something set up, and that's not a bad thing. I have a friend, and she was dating guys in the system, et cetera, and one of the first guys who came around who was in his 30s and older and was an adult. He was an adult. There wasn't a Rebbe. There wasn't a parent. This guy was a man. He had a house, and she quickly saw that and just loved it. She's this is I like this,
right?
And it actually benefited her, and they got married. Not to that guy, but to the guy or two after that. So sometimes that could be like why hand-holding reason, this is that, but there is that next level. There is that next stage that parents have to be aware about.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that if there's a 32-year-old guy who's allowing his parents to make his decisions,
it's weird. Also,
that's even
jump on that.
So I'm really talking about stage one, because I think it's stage two. You're sort of right. If you're still doing that with your parents, then maybe there's a problem.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I get it.
What age is it for you? What do you think around? It's obviously subjective.
It's probably person dependent.
It depends on the person.
Well, if they're learning and they're 35 in yeshiva, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
What's the background?
Tough.
Right.
It's tough.
So everything's really subjective in that sense. But certainly, you have to really cheshbon in all of that.
Yeah, for sure.
So here's a funny thing. We got so serious. Tell me, Big Daddy Avi.
Yeah.
The guys get together, the fathers get together in shul, buy kiddush, and they talk about this, right? Just tell us.
You know what? They do.
So professional, this guy.
I'm very professional. So
I won't give in to me. He won't spell it out.
No, I think it depends. In my circle of friends, there's some kids. There's some of them that don't have children going out. There's some that do. Some of the boys' side, some of the girls' side. So it's definitely talked about, no question about it. But it's not. It wasn't constant for me. I mean, I know in certain circles it's a constant conversation, but I think that's one of the reasons that we kept everyone calm and grounded in my house, is that it wasn't, we talked about funny dating stories, no question about it, but it wasn't a constant thing. And you can't do that when you put the pressure, when it's constantly talked about around the Shabbos table, then there's a huge pressure. Bingo. And that if that's what you're getting to, the pressure is no good.
I love that. Thank you for noticing that.
And I do credit my wife on that one, because while I was looking for dates, she was the one saying, I got married at 24. There's no rush. Everything's fine. Yeah. And when you have that attitude, then your child, boy or girl, doesn't feel the pressure, is hopefully not going to make a mistake because they don't feel the pressure, and is not going to feel like a person, going to go out with the single friends, have a good time, and find the person in the right time. And that's and I do credit my wife, because, sometimes when you're the one in it, frantically looking, you're the one that starts saying, oh, I'm worried, but...
He's not saying that because she's listening.
Not because she's right here listening to you.
So but you can't have pressure in the house. Pressure in the house is the worst thing for a boy or a girl.
That's one thing I know. My parents didn't actually.
Why you moved out?
No. They actually didn't. They don't. They were very good about that. That was one thing that they're very good about. There's no time that you need to be married by, and you don't feel any pressure to.
But this is rare. I'm telling you, it's rare. That's great that your parents said that, and I think we're doing it too. But most parents don't, and there's a lot of people feel frantic, and either they make the wrong decisions or they're just ice mensch. They're walking around nervous, and either thing is no good, obviously, and that's the problem.
Have you seen a difference between parents who let their kids date in high school and people who do shidduchim after and their kids actually don't date? Do you see differences in the kids and then the parents as well?
No. You know, I hear you.
In our community, there's a lot. There's a lot of that going on.
I see it. I really see it.
They might be more comfortable around the opposite sex, but as far as finding a shidduch, let's talk. Let's say you date in high school. Let's say you date in Israel. But let's say for whatever reason you break up, and now you're back from Israel. You're going to college, and you don't have a boyfriend or girlfriend. How are you different than? You might be more comfortable around girls and boys, but at the end of the day, you're going to have the same difficult time in finding the shidduch. Just because you let them date, it makes a little bit more comfort. I agree. And maybe you want to have a little less rules, and maybe you communicate better. And so if you want to say those things, I'd agree. But I don't think that means you have an easier time finding a shidduch. I just don't think it does.
Of course. Yeah. But look, it's extremely polarized today because Avi, you and I probably grew up more in a similar time and realm, but today it's so separated. You have the yeshivish community, you have the Modocs community, Modernish community, and in most yeshiva black hat belts who are heavy shidduch daters, they're not talking to girls, they're not hanging out with girls, they're not going to have girlfriends, the girls aren't going to have boyfriends. It's not happening. So I think there's just less and less of that happening. But certainly, I think Viggy and I can say
it had nothing to do with the yeshivish part. The girls just didn't flock.
That was it. No,
that was
it wasn't us.
No, nothing to do with.
Yeah, I'm just no. We know guys from our high school that there were some very yeshivish guys there, rabbis' daughters, chief rabbis' daughters, and they dated guys in our classes, and we had rabbis' sons, and they dated, and they were comfortable. They were able to be themselves, and something that I advocate for is, dude, have your kids go out in high school 100%.
I'd question, though, that it doesn't necessarily help their relationships long term. Because you only get to a certain level. Dating for marriage is very serious.
Listen,
but if you don't want to,
I hear both sides of it.
Both sides, right?
I'm okay. Listen, I'm okay. If they're dating earlier, talking to girls, I'm not against it, but I'm not. I'm also not saying that that's the problem. That's what I'm trying to say.
Definitely not.
So I'm like, you could do it or not do it, but you might end up in the same situation.
No, we know the internet is the problem. Yes, obviously. The internet. We go back to the.
Well, and by the way, I will give a little bit to the parents here, jump in a sense that y'all are new to this also, right? There was a time, which you're definitely more probably accustomed to, where there was a shadchan, as I mentioned many times. There's a shadchan. You had to fax him a little bit about you, fax him, and then meet him and schedule an appointment, and then meet you in person, and then they bring out a binder, and you look at some girls, and then most of the time you're going out on blind dates. So it was a whole process. You put your heart and soul into it, and there was so much physical and emotional labor in there that you're like, you know what? Like, you're kind of seeing the world in a different eye, different perspective, a better perspective. Today, WhatsApp, 2 seconds. Hey. You see this guy? Okay, no, you like him? Okay, next. Instant. It's very quick. It's very fast. But we have to get ahead of it. It's not. It's here. It's here, and it's going to stay. So you gotta get ahead of it.
the big thing that everyone argues about is pictures, to do or not to do. And I'm sure you had a podcast about that. But so I'll say my thing quickly on that. It's yes. Would it be great if the boys didn't get pictures and they could decide without a picture? Right. I think there'd be a lot more dates had if we did it that way. But to say that we're going to stop pictures is ridiculous, because it's not going to happen. Just because you don't send pictures, two things are going to happen. Either the boy's not going to go out because he didn't send a picture, or he's going to find the picture on his own from social media. So to me, to say we're not going to do pictures anymore is not the solution. Right. Do I agree that pictures make a lot less date? Because of pictures, there are a lot less dates. 100%. It adds to the crisis. But I don't, to solve it by saying all shadchanim are not going to send pictures is just not being, I don't think that's an intelligent solution, because it doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it definitely doesn't work. I don't think
they tried it after Marone, and again, first of all, I don't know how the people in Marone who passed away, which was a terrible thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Because of that, we're not going to send pictures. But that's number one. But number two, it didn't work. It just didn't work. The Shadchanim were serious about it, and they didn't send a whole bunch of them didn't send pictures, but it didn't work. Now everyone's back to pictures because you can't do it. They're gonna, like I said, they're either going to say no or find it anyway.
Yeah, no, it's practical. It's new age thinking.
Yeah.
You can also always find pictures of girls on Avery's blog, averysntsblog.net. It's all there.
Now I'm afraid to go to that blog.
Many pictures.
Just give your social security number and a check. You get a free consultation, and Simon Leviev will appear.
Yes, we're accepting Ukrainian refugees, right?
By the way, Ukraine is, our thoughts and prayers are with everyone, but there was a time when Ukraine was the place to go to get like a kosher mail order and bride over there. You just fly down there, you pick up a...
the good news for you is they're evacuating, and it seems that some might be coming over.
Maybe those are coming over.
You two guys have a chance.
I can save 75 cents on the mail stamp over there.
In my case, I think they'd rather be in the war. I think they'd rather stay there than come.
That I would agree.
Married in a safe zone.
They're evacuating now. Once they get here, they're going to run back.
That's it, right? You know what? We'll take the bombing. We'll take the shellings.
Oh my God!
Even with the green card, wow.
Even with it,
wow.
It's been rough.
Give them a green card and they still go back.
It's a rough going.
Okay, Avi, I have a few cute questions. I have two cute questions for you, and then probably another serious one, and then anything else you wanted to bring up. 50 minutes already. You're like, what? 50 minutes?
Wow, time flies.
Almost 55. Yeah. So first cute sticky question. I think I asked you getting together in Shul, but let's say your child says no to your friend's child. Okay. What happens there? I want to know. What do the parents do? That's something I can't experience yet.
Yeah, it's before the date or after the date.
Let me think here. Let's say they go out. Let's just say they go out.
Yeah, so there's really two different parts of it. When someone says no, let's start with the first, even though you asked to start with the second one.
Let's do both. Yeah.
So you get the resume. Now, if the other side knows, obviously because they said yes, the boy said yes, you're in big trouble, right? Because now they don't know. Yeah. You might say no because your daughter's not a good fit for that person, but they think it's against my family. What, you don't like my family? You're not good enough for you? Yeah. So it's a huge problem. Most people are mature about it, but it's a problem because they don't know. I think it's easier after the date. If they end up going out and it's no, because then everyone knows it's not against my family because they dated. It's because it didn't work out. And I actually think that's easier. If they date and it doesn't work out, it's much easier than if they don't date at all. Listen, you take Avery right here.
What about Avery?
I give tremendous kudos to his father or his parents after Avery went out with my daughter in the beautiful date that they had. And
wow, we didn't know this was you guys knew each other before.
And then I saw his father and again, nothing wrong with Avery, nothing wrong with my daughter. It wasn't for them. Both good people, both good families, but not everyone would appreciate that fact, and which is a fact. And then I see his father a few days later at some event. And he literally gives me a hug. He gave me a hug. I'll never forget that. He gave me a hug and he called me Mechutin. And then from then on, we call each other Mechutin.
Mechutin. I love
that is the name.
Oh my God!
Now we call him
funny.
And it's an absolute true story. And I came home with such an appreciation for his father because I was like, you know what? I'm like that. I don't care at all. I love Avery. I love his parents. I love his family. But I didn't know how he was going to react. It made me feel so good that someone's just as crazy as me to actually hug me and call me Mechutin. And literally for years on the street, he sees me, he calls me Mechutin.
Yeah.
Now when we hug each other, I call him Shadchan because he ended up being the Shadchan. So that's another good part to the story. The second part to the story is you never be careful what you say, what you do, because now we treated each other with respect. Just because our kids didn't go out, our kids didn't work out, even though they went out, no reason to get upset because no one did anything wrong.
No one did.
And therefore he was able to later on with Avery and his father and his mother think of JP for my daughter, but that's only because we kept our relationship. Imagine if the next time we saw each other, you'd be like, you know what, this guy's
you stand over there on the other side of the mechitza. Don't come.
Or he just gets angry. He doesn't talk to me anymore because this guy didn't want my family.
Or post date, which has happened to me before. Shadchanim will message me and say, you looked like you weren't really into it, according to the girl, and you didn't give her a fair chance, and start creating these ideas and notions where really we just weren't a good fit, just based off of chemistry.
Exactly. So I give major kudos to you and your family for that, and that's post date. Now get back to the pre date where we
have to bring him on more often.
Yeah. So pre date.
I want some compliments for me, but
it's
okay. If he never gets,
if you want to go out with my second daughter, maybe I'll have some stories.
Okay, I'll wait.
Yeah. Got two sons as well.
I'll try to figure out who I can set them up.
You never know.
Isaac's gone out with hundreds of guys and girls already, and he thinks he's close.
So
not that there's anything wrong with it.
So like my pre-date, we definitely had a situation where we said no to someone. We weren't close friends with the family, but we had mutual friends. And the problem is, again, the family thought that it was something against them or against the boy. Yeah. And then unfortunately, one of our mutual friends, instead of just saying, oh, I don't know why they say no, that wasn't for them, made like a comment. Again, it wasn't a bad comment. They said, oh, this person, oh, your boy is X and she didn't want that. Whenever you say X, that adjective, it doesn't make a difference. If you say, your boy's quiet, which doesn't even sound like it's not a bad thing. Now they got upset. You think my boy's that. Your boy's out of the box. Your boy's shot. Your boy's too bossy. Whatever you want to say, they're going to end up being upset. And that's why I think before the date is really bad. After the date, like I said, you could just say, hey, it didn't work out. And as long as you don't say the reason, I think that's really the point of pre-date or post-date. Don't talk about it. It's no one's business why. Because the answer is it just didn't work out, and then no one's insulted. Once you get a reason out there, even if it's a good reason, an innocent reason, and a true reason, and not a bad reason, it's going to be perceived as bad, and it's going to blow up. And so we've had that too.
I love that. Amen.
Yeah.
It
really reflects more on you. Essentially, at the end of the day, it reflects on you talking bad about this person who you don't really necessarily even know. You didn't even go out with them. That's the reflection.
Exactly. Exactly. Look at me and Avery, we're all friends for life.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And can I be a part of this brotherhood?
You're part of it. I really like it.
I'm a brother.
Yeah.
Oh man. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. What was your other cute?
I had one more cute question for you. Okay. So what happens when you get this guy's resume? Okay. And you realize, and your daughter wants to go out, or let's switch this up a little bit because you mentioned your daughter. But let's say your son gets this resume of this girl and then he wants to go out with her. Automatic yes, and you realize you seriously dated that girl's mother. All these years later.
Listen, I've had that close to happen. It was talked about, but I never got the actual resume. But I think it's fine as long as nothing bad went on when you dated the mother. Again, it depends on your awkward level, right? Like for me, it's very hard to make me feel awkward. So it's not like it would.
That's why you're on the show.
Right.
You can handle everything.
Yeah. So it's very hard to make me feel. So I probably wouldn't care. But again, maybe my daughter would, or maybe my wife would. So these things are, but at least that they would understand why you would say no. But yeah, that happens too. It's not, the world's crazy. Things happen. I think you have to be chilled.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have so many people. I know my parents' friends and friend groups who have went out with each other and it never worked out. Yet somehow they became couple friends afterwards.
Exactly.
It happens all the time.
Happens all the time.
All the time in our neighborhood. And as long as they don't get together for cupcakes at night afterward, it's all good.
It's actually funny. I actually have a very cute story
Cupcakes?
to piggyback off of what you just said about Avery's father, the shadchan. You're machatenis there now.
Yes.
You're quote unquote machatenis there. So we were all at a wedding a while back. And someone from basically his Avery's father. Could we give him a name? How about George Bush the senior? Okay.
No, but yeah,
George Senior, Avery Senior. So Avery Senior, I like that. There you go. See, it was pontificating in my mind.
Let's get to the point.
Okay.
Yeah, terrible.
Can we get to the point now?
I'm terrible.
So anyway, George, basically Avery Senior over here, right? So he must have been with an aunt or something. Anyway, after I get a text after, we got a girl for you. We want to go out. Okay, he's arranging this. So beautiful girl they send me. Okay, we ended up going out at least twice. Might have been just 2 times. Anyway, she ended it. I was fine. She happened to be divorced. I was very young at the time. Very young. It was actually my first divorced girl I went out with, and I was young, and it wasn't like, you know. So afterwards, Avery Senior's best friend was this girl's uncle, and that's how I realized, that's how this was set up.
Right.
And I go to Kiddush Club with them, and I see him all the time, so I start calling him Uncle. I'm like, Uncle. So where's the similar situation? Like, Uncle. Yeah, now he sees me saying it like on Central or whatever, and he just runs the other way. But we had a good run. So.
Yeah. It doesn't work out
I'm
for
like,
me. Like,
Uncle D.
it doesn't work out like that for me. The people whose daughters I've dated.
When they finish with Avery,
not
they
friends.
run.
They're not.
They
run
run,
straight.
right? They don't even
Yeah.
need to initiate the word
not
uncle.
friends.
There's no uncle.
They just run away.
There's
They
no
just
uncle,
run away.
There's no mechutin.
He's had girls convert back to whatever
there's
religion
one-
they came
the convert
from.
I went out
We're
with.
not kidding. This
really?
happened.
She became an Islamic extremist.
Yeah.
She went from nice Jew to Islamic extremist
ISIS
after
head.
dating me. Yeah.
She's
Not even a joke.
she's a princess.
I don't know what happened to that one.
Okay, my last question for you, by the way, if you have anything in Avery, just in this like very sensitive area that I'm very perceptive and aware of. I go to weddings, I hang out with the younger generation, and I see that vaping and smoking is it's coming back. It's coming back. It's very popular. We've done a few episodes about it, and everyone has their own view and opinion on this. What do you have to say as a parent? What do you want to tell parents out there?
I'm sure most parents do not like it. If we found out, I think if we found out before that someone's smoking or vaping, I would think we'd say no to the shidduch, because why would we like it? It's just unhealthy. That's the bottom line. And why would you put your daughter or son or whatever, or whoever at risk from going out, from getting married, and anything could happen later on. So I think the answer is, before we say no. The question I really have is, it's hard to know before those type of things. So you go out, and then your daughter finds out after 7 dates, it's
a good one.
The guy's vaping. That's where it's difficult, because are you going to break a shidduch over that? If everything's great and that's what the guy does, I mean, it's unhealthy.
Is he on top of it?
I'm
also,
eating myself into oblivion. How am I different than the guy who's smoking? Right? So,
Yeah.
No, you look great. What are you?
thank you. But that's the point. So the question is, if I found out before, I think the answer would be no, a real no, because I don't. Why would we want someone who's smoking or vaping? But if you find out later, it's kind of hard to break a shidduch over that if that's the only thing.
Yeah, right. Okay, I love that.
That's
I
my
respect
opinion.
that, yeah.
I'm sure there are people that would even break the shidduch over that,
Right
and I'm
away,
sure there
yeah.
are people would even let their kids go out. So I'm sure they're both
Yeah,
extremes.
there's going to be all sides of that. But we appreciate that you take it from a very mature way, and there's some parents who are just tuning in and they're hearing it and they're saying, "Wow, I think I'm going to take them up on that."
Yeah.
Avi, what I appreciate about you is that you're an open book. What you see is what you get, and not all parents are like that. There's all these hidden agendas and hidden things, and what they really mean. Or like a girl let's say there are many girls who have had anorexic issues in high school, or like depression and like things like that. They wouldn't talk about. And with other people, it's just, this is what we are, and we talk about it, and it's open.
I was never anorexic.
that we know. Yeah.
He never had that.
Yeah, but no, 100%. Not to joke about mental health, but there's things, and we've had many situations where we went out with people, and because I don't do crazy checking, we found out things after that. If you know before, you would never say yes to. You would say no to the shidduch. But if you know them after, and that's again where you need to speak to someone who maybe knows better than you and say, "Listen, I found this out after. Is this a red flag that you can't get married to, or is this okay? I'll have to live with this one thing because everything else is so good."
Yeah.
So those are the things, and it depends what it is. We've gone out with people and found out there was certain mental health later on, found out there was a disease later on, and then what do? And sometimes the answer is to say no, and sometimes the answer is to check it out more before and maybe you continue. So these are difficult questions, and you definitely have to have a competent person that you speak to.
Amazing. Wow, Big Daddy Avi, I appreciate having you on.
Yeah, this was great.
This was great. Can the people find you anywhere? Do you want them to find?
I
We have some people come on.
Me.
Go on Instagram. Go on Facebook.
No, I want them to
Mitch Berkowitz's house.
Yeah,
That's
I
where we'll
want
find
them
it.
to find me, but I am not on social media.
Okay, so you'll find Avi at the next
Local restaurant.
Local restaurant, right? Just scream Avi. You'll hear his voice.
Yeah.
But thanks for coming on. We had a good episode here. And so people, episode 66, the Father's Fireside Chat. We hope you enjoyed it. Happy face, smiley face, silly face. This is a Nobody Talks Shidduchim podcast. Alchi's Media Network.